guess my delivery is not always, you know, the way it should be. You should have stuck up for me. I did!
Well.
Talking to her and Teresa, and they were giving me warnings about, like, being friends with Margaret. Really?
Don't be shocked. You're shocked?
Actually specifically said, it's better to have Margaret as a friend than an enemy.
You're shocked?
I know fake when I see it, and Teresa running to Margaret at my roller skating party was the fakest I've ever seen.
You guys are a chosen family. It's getting weird.
Growing up so fast, so every time I see them, it just reminds me that I'm not able to be there for them as much as I would want to. It almost feels like my Zio Joe and Zia Melissa are trying to put a wedge in between us.
But the storyline for me has run stale.
Damn.
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. Today, we're going to be looking at the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Yeah, let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flame. And if you want to play with me, you can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, won it, securing the bag.
All right, so the episode basically starts out with Teresa going to therapy, and you know she's been going to therapy for 6 months now, and you know she's just like, you know, I did not like how I reacted to Margaret last year. It was so out of my character. It was not something I would like seeing myself. I'm thinking like, girl, it's been what, 12 years now.
You should have stuck up for me. I did!
Like, this is out of character, girl. We knew that was you. I mean, you know, but she was like, you know, Louis really wanted me to like change the ways I react to things, and I think this is really better. And I mean, I agree, not everything should resort to violence. And sometimes there's better ways to communicate how you feel. So I mean, whatever she feels like is good for her. I agree. Teresa talks about how Joe and Louis got into it and how, you know, they made peace, but then he went back on it and didn't come to her housewarming. And I feel like, Joe, if you have a problem with Teresa, you need to be open with her to say like, hey, I'm still feeling weird about this. I know we made peace, but every time I get very, you know, anxious, or, you know, I get second thoughts. They need to have some form of open communication, because they don't. And then Melissa, like I said before, girls, just stay out of it. Do not give your opinion. Melissa gives her opinion too much, and she's like, yeah, you know, Teresa's fake. She's this, she's that, she's And Louis does too. Louis gives his input too much. But with Louis, it's different because Teresa like relies on his information. So, you know, during Teresa's therapy session, she deep dives and she learns that, you know, my dad behaved the same way that we are doing right now. My dad, he held a grudge with our cousin, well, with his cousin, over $200. Now, don't get me wrong. If you steal $200 from me, throw your hands up, because I don't just have money to just waste.
And father and my cousin, they didn't talk for 6 years. Wow. Over $200. My dad was no joke. Very strong, very stubborn.
They did cause a wedge between her and her own cousins, and she sees that same behavior with how she and Joe's going. And like I said before, she said that Antonia didn't come.
It is upsetting. Like, Antonia didn't come to Melania's Sweet 16. Melania and Antonia were like this. I got this one for Christmas.
This just goes to show that, you know, their beef is bleeding into the kids. Maybe it's not going to be something too dramatic, but like these separations, even if it's something innocent, either side is going to think the worst, because that's just how the relationship is already set up, you know. So we go to Jennifer's house, and she's basically got the kids cleaning. She's like, yeah, y'all out of school? Perfect, clean. And you know, her and Bill are outside and they're basically talking, and she's like, yeah, when you see Margaret at this baseball game, I don't want you to be cool with her. Like, have my side, don't be cool with her, don't do none of that, because at the end of the day, we beefing, you beefing with her too.
Game coming up.
Yes.
I don't want you to be that nice to Margaret when you see her. Because like at Jen Fessler's house, Margaret started with me again.
I get the concept, but at the end of the day, she know how Bill is. Like, he is a doctor, which is a very respected profession. So he's not gonna just be out here talking about you did, you hoe, you slut, you. He's not gonna be doing all that. So Jennifer really has to learn. She's been married to her husband, but it looks like she don't even know who he is. Vice versa, you know. Jennifer brings up how Margaret was like, yeah, you know, you're basically trying to insinuate that she is like addicted to drugs, child. But you know, she said that she smoked marijuana when her kids are asleep. She's over here doing what she got to do. It gets her relaxed. This and the third. You know, people they smoke, they do what they got to do. I don't do that. That's not my thing. But you know, that's what she does. She said it's recreational, it's legal in her state. So I mean, girl, go right ahead. But then she brings up, that's affecting my kids.
Getting like all worked up, and then she was calling me names. She called me a disheveled drug addict. Me again. So you're either not thinking of my kids or you're just plain stupid.
Her bringing up a comment about you need to take ownership of what you do and stop trying to make, if your kids feel some type of way, you can't blame someone else for how your kids feel about your actions. Just because she brought it up, that's still your actions, right? Then while they're talking simultaneously, Jen F and Margaret are sitting down, they're talking, and they're talking about, what happened. And Jen F is holding Margaret accountable. She's like, yeah, the back and forth you had with Jennifer at my house was unacceptable.
You're screaming these really 16-year-old things to her. No, you're right. There's nothing adult about the way that Margaret loses her
And you are grown. And y'all are arguing like y'all 16-year-olds. The way you're going low with her, like, why do she make you go that way? And Margaret's just like, at the end of the day, she started with me and she's doing this, that, and the third. And Jen's just like, okay, I understand that, but I don't care about her. You're my friend. So, I mean, I'm concerned about you. And you have to realize that this is not okay behavior. And I can respect Jen for basically holding her friend accountable, just like how Julia did with Adriana in Miami. And like, this is how I do with my friends. Like, my friends, like, there was a situation back in the day where something happened that could have been taken out of context. I left the party because if I would have stayed, it was going to be up and stuck. And I already know that the couches would have been moving and the tables would have probably been out the door. So I might as well have to just go ahead and remove myself because I'm grown. And my friend was just like, hey friend, I think, you kind of handled that bad. And this and the third, I explained my side and my other friend explained the side. And then he saw like, oh, okay, I didn't know that information and my bad. But we have that friendship where it's, if you feel like I did something wrong or vice versa, we can have the open communication and say that to each other. So I respect that. So, we're at Polly's house and Dolores' dad shows up. Dolores, when she was walking on her dad into the house, Dolores' body is banging. She looks so good. But, we find out that Paul has to have like heart surgery. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's serious. Heart, brain, those two things, that's a KO. Like, so I wish him nothing but the best with the surgery. I hope it goes successful. I think it did. But I also do find it sad that Dolores' storylines are always about a man. Every storyline for her is about a man. Having a man, something dealing with a man in her life. That's it. And I want her to grow out of that. Like, yes, you're trying to find love. You're in the season of, love, cool, ain't hating. But at some point, I want to know more from Dolores than a man. It's like, my man. Okay, what else? Right? We travel over to Rachel and Melissa. They're going out onto the batting cage with her husband, and Frank and his girlfriend Brittany shows up. And, they're all there socializing. They bring up how Frank and Dolores' relationship has been weird because of Polly's in his life. And how, it's affecting the dynamic of their family. But Frank has to realize at the end of the day, yes, y'all have been for quote unquote like 20 something years in this type of, unorthodox relationship. Like, y'all not married, y'all are not romantically involved, but y'all still, copacetic and cordial with each other and very much in each other's lives. So it's kind of weird, right? And Frank is like very upset. And he's saying all this in front of Brittany. And I'm just like, Brittany, she cool with it. She's like, at first I wasn't cool with it, but I'm cool with it now. But I'm just like, girl, you go better than me. I feel like Dolores and Frank depend on each other too much. Now Dolores has someone else to fill that void because David's not there now. So she's gonna steer away from Frank. And I feel like the only reason she was close to Frank when she was dating David was because David and Frank was cool. Now, Paul is not cool with Frank like that, and they haven't been in rooms like that. They say it's like not on purpose, but it's always a coincidence they're not in the same room. Now, if it come out at the end of the season, at the reunion, like, yeah, Paulie just doesn't like him. I just don't know. then I'm gonna be pissed off. Like, girl, you should just said it from the beginning. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. He don't like him. Cool. But no. They also start hitting the balls, and Melissa brings up the whole Jennifer comment, how, Margaret was like, oh yeah, Melissa can get a baseball player, just and the third. And Rachel brings up, Teresa also said that it's better to have Margaret as a friend than an enemy.
So Teresa actually specifically said it's better to have Margaret as a friend than an enemy. See? I know fake when I see it.
Melissa goes on this whole diatribe about, oh my God, she is so fake. That's why I knew when she ran up to her, it was so fake. I can't believe she'll do that. And she is just so disgusting. And that's why you have to watch what she say around her. Because she just go ham. And I'm just like, I mean, the comment wasn't an inherently bad comment. It's like, it just goes to show, like, Margaret ain't the one. That's what I took from it. Margaret ain't the one. If you go against Margaret, she gonna go toe to toe. That's what I got from it. But I mean, Rachel also divulged that, you have to watch Margaret as well. So already know that one thing Melissa's gonna do is carry the bone. Okay. So Rachel says that, I really don't care what these women think. I'm not scared of none of them. I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna figure it out. It is what it is.
I didn't really ask for their opinions, and I'm literally not afraid of anybody. So there's that.
So we're all at the baseball field, and I love the philanthropy aspect of the show. And Dolores is, we're about to bring in this money because we're about to sell the calendars of the husband, and yes, we're gonna bring this check in. And I'm like, girl, like, to be honest, I ain't gonna hold you, like, no, like. So Danielle basically talks to Margaret about her fight with Jennifer, and she's kind of conflicted. She's like, do I trust what Jennifer is saying? That even though I know Margaret and Jennifer were both going low, how can I trust Margaret if Margaret would go digging dirt on me? But Danielle is definitely, she picked a side, Teresa and Jennifer. Cool, I'm not mad at that. But Danielle got to realize that, yes, Margaret did go digging on information, but Jennifer did it too. And Jennifer's doing it now. So it's like, I mean, yes, you can hold Margaret to task, but at the end of the day, you still have to look at the fact that Jennifer's doing it too. So you can't just be biased. I feel like Rachel is still in the middle. And I feel like Danielle is leaning more towards the other side, right? So while Danielle's talking and, having a conversation with Margaret, she accidentally let it slip that Teresa made a comment about the whole, it's better to have her as a friend than an enemy. Jen F is in the background like, that's a compliment. I mean, that's how I took it. This is a compliment, right? So Margaret's like, no, she's telling people that they need to watch me. They need to watch me. She's telling people that they need to watch me. I don't like that because what this is weird. Like, what are you doing? So Jennifer walks in as everybody's over here like stampeding on her name. And, she greets everyone but Margaret. And, they basically ignore each other. They're just like, I don't fool with you. You don't fool with me. Cool. And, I mean, that's real. Teresa walks in and Joe basically steps away and removes himself. And, he finally, after everybody start mingling, he finally greets them. And they looking at the calendar. It was like a really copacetic moment. And I mean, we already know it's not going to last, but I mean, I don't know why they can't just keep these moments. It seems like they're trying to fake it for the kids, but I don't know, maybe. They started the game, and the men in the beginning knocked it out the park. We're doing good. I'm just like, okay, the Housewives might win this. They doing good. Intermission, and Rachel walks over to Jennifer like, oh my God, did your kids come? She's like, yeah, my daughter Olivia was the only one came. She's my angel, this, that, and the third. Rachel's like, your daughter broke my heart. And Jennifer's like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, she was just basically saying that, she wants to be a love therapist. And then Jen gets upset because, her fighting with Bill is, spilling into her kids. Like, her kids are sensing it or even seeing it. And I could definitely agree with that because with my parents, my parents are divorced, and when I was little, like 6, they got divorced when I was around 6. So I didn't really see anything. I was very oblivious. But the older I got, like when I was a teenager, when I saw my mom and her new husband and my dad, his new wife, when I saw them fight, it was easy to sense on it when they try to hide it. Like I know when y'all mad, y'all not talking, y'all just being very aloof and very just absent from each other, short. So it's like you could definitely sense when somebody's have an issue, right? It's an intermission of the game, and Teresa and her daughter basically call over Joe's son and just, oh my God, you're getting bigger, this, that, and the third, like bonding moment. And Gia basically said,
Every time I see them, it just reminds me that I'm not able to be there for them as much as I would want to. It almost feels like my Zio Joe and Zia Melissa are trying to put a wedge in between us.
in her confessional, it's just like, I feel like Joe and Melissa, basically her aunt and uncle, are trying to put a wedge between the cousins. And to be honest, Gia, at some point, you can't just blame Joe and Melissa. You got to blame Joe, Melissa, Teresa, and Joe for the reason why y'all have some type of disdain within y'all's relationship between the cousins. And also, you have to take some type of accountability, especially you, Gia, being the oldest. You can see more. You're not an adolescent. You can actually see what's going on in a higher thinking perspective, right? So why don't you try to facilitate a situation between the cousins? Why don't you try to put on something between the cousins, like make an effort, you know? At the end of the day of the baseball game, the Real Housewives, they win. Oh my God, whoop, whoop, whoop. And at the end of the episode, we see basically Bill and Jennifer go on to therapy, right? And Bill is very like silent. He's very reserved. Jennifer is divulging it all. Like, she's very open with the way she communicates. Bill is very reserved with the way he communicates. And they basically start this session about, the affair.
Pregnant with our 4th child, and Bill cheated on me.
And Bill, she's like, yeah, Bill cheated on me 11 years ago, and my kids found out, and it was this whole big ordeal. And she just feels like an employee, and she was like, he treats me like I'm the only person that's supposed to take care of the kids, and this, that, and the third. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do as a parent. I feel like I'm alone. I'm getting fed up. And Bill's sitting there just like, she doesn't want to be a disciplinarian. I'm the one that's seen, that's the hard one, and they don't want to basically. If I tell them something, she's gonna basically override it and give them what they want.
Supportive.
And it's dad who's hard on us, who pushes us. Now he is infidelity, right? So now I feel like I can't even push my kids the way I want to.
The therapist hears everything, and when Jen starts divulging, she starts going in. She's like, he do this, he do that, he do this, he do that. Oh, my drink.
Where I keep telling him, I feel like I'm your employee. And now you're coming in and saying, you know what? I don't like the job you did.
Problem is, my job is 24/7 stress.
Jen, Bill's sitting there silent, face getting red. I don't know. It's hard to tell if he's embarrassed, if he's upset. It's hard to tell. He does not communicate this, right? But the therapist at the end of the episode, she's just like, yeah, we're going to book another session, and we're going to talk about this on the next session, like see where we're at, the progress.
My suggestion is that we make another appointment and try to address this issue.
Ma'am, so you didn't give them no homework, you didn't give them them to talk, there's just to book another session, that's it. I'm just like, so at the end of the day, I feel like what they should do is learn their love language. Learn how each other love each other, how each other communicates. Obviously, they have a different style of communicating, and they have a different style of fighting. So it's just at the end of the day, you have to learn how one another moves. And I don't know, maybe Bill was so reserved because he saw Jennifer as this is who she was all this time, so now she wants to change. But I mean, that's a relationship. You evolve, you change, and that's just what it is. But that was the end of the episode, y'all. What do you guys think? Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. It should be the Real Housewives of Miami Part 2 reunion. I should have that out. I'm gonna try to do the review on Thursday and have it out on Friday. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.